I'll give the same advice that I give my 7-year-old son every morning when he's leaving for school, or be kind, confident, and curious. Be kind, confident, and curious. What should I sound like? Be kind, confident, and curious. How do I get good at this? How do I build skills? How do I convert more of these leads into signed contracts? Kind, confident, and curious. Be those three things on the phone. Keep it in front of you, and you literally cannot lose.
Hey, welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Eat, Sleep, and Invest. I'm your host, Brian Driscoll. I'm here with Brent Daniels. What's up, man?
Let's go. I am excited. I love the podcast, love what you're doing out there, love the leads that you're sending to people. So let's have a good podcast. Let's show some people how to get some deals.
I'm with you. So today what we're going to talk about, everyone listening, for anybody out there who has not done a deal yet, we're going to talk about how to get that first deal, like how it looks, what you need to do, and then also how you can build on that to get into like a deal a month and a deal a week, things like that. So, hey, Brent, give everybody a little background on how you even got into this space. Like, tell everyone what you're doing.
Yeah, in 2003, I was given Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I was just graduating. I was in my senior year of college at Northern Arizona University, go Lumberjacks. And I was given Rich Dad, Poor Dad, read it, and my mushy brain globbed onto it, and it was forever in there. So got my real estate license while I was finishing up college, and then got into the real estate world in 2004. And so for the last 20 years, this is what I've been doing. And I've been doing everything from being a real estate agent to being a landlord to fixing and flipping. And now I really focus on wholesaling most of the deals that we have and providing those opportunities for other investors and being more of the marketing arm for going out and finding really great discounted property.
Nice. So back in 2004,
yeah,
what was one of the punches in the face you took?
Well, listen, I didn't know what it was to be an adult. I didn't know what it was to it's like a weird space, right? Like, I feel like there's transitions in life. Like when you're 12, you're like go through this whole thing where you're a kid, but you're also supposed to kind of be mature. So you go through this phase. And then at 18, you kind of go through this phase again, where all of a sudden you're legal to do all these other things and you're supposed to be an adult, but not really. And then you kind of buy yourself a few years if you go to college to not really get into the real world. And so the real world smacked me in the face, Brian. I was like, holy cow, wait a second. So like nobody's going to just take care of me. I have to do this myself. Like I have to eat what I kill type of thing, especially in real estate. And so you have to get really good, really fast at building skills to be able to be valuable in the market. And so that was the biggest punch to the face in 2004 for sure.
Yeah. You're right. You know what? It took me till I was like 34.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's
sure.
Like you just go through life, you're just living it, and you're like, yeah, you get smacked in the face. All right. So 2004, you got in. So that's over 20 years ago.
Yeah.
What'd your first deal look like?
Well, it just depends on what you mean by first deal. I mean, I was a real estate agent for a few years before I really started doing some deals. And the first real deals that I did was actually buying down at the trustee sales or the foreclosure auctions. It was starting to build some steam in 2008. And so I used my own money and a couple of my business partners' money to buy the first couple and flip them. And then we did pretty well that we were able to raise funds from family, friends, and be able to bid more at the foreclosure auctions. And that was great. We were just doing like kind of light cosmetic renovations, but those were gobbled up as soon as BlackRock decided to come to town and outbid everybody because they saw the potential, especially as property values were decreasing so fast in Phoenix that they would snatch up properties because they saw that it would have a hockey stick effect at some point. And so kind of got pushed back out of that, got back into the seat as an agent, and then lost everything during that time, right? I had opened up a brokerage. I had signed a ridiculous office lease that I wasn't able to pay. So I got sued for that. At 27, I had a $700,000 judgment against me, went through a divorce, lost 5 properties, watched 2 cars get repoed out of my driveway. Bank of America, Wells Fargo, and Chase would not let me have a checking account because my credit was so bad. And I had given credit cards back to all of those banks. So I had to find some obscure online checking account that I had to use. So it was a mess, Brian. It was an absolute dumpster fire. So
that's a punch in the face.
Well, that was a punch in the face. That was a rough one. And so I didn't have a budget, but I knew that there were investors still wanting to buy properties, especially in really good areas. And so I would just go out and door knock. I didn't know anything better to do. And I was kind of at that point where I knew that I lost all of it because I didn't have really good counsel, really good mentorship from people that had seen the cycles in the market. I was naive in thinking that everything was going to not explosive growth, but steady growth over time in real estate. And then it just dropped out, right? It was like, you're at a carnival and somebody throws a baseball at that thing and it hits the target and the dude drops into the tank. I mean, that's how fast it was here. And so went to door knock to build my confidence at communicating with strangers, and two, because I had no money and I had to go find some opportunities. So I thought, well, if I brought these two investors, they'll pay me 3% as an agent. And so this will be great. So it happened. I knocked on the door on a street here, 42nd Place in Arcadia, and then talked to the owner of the property. She didn't want to sell, but she was the caretaker for a property that was 3 houses down. She called the owner, got permission, and gave me the name, address, and phone number of this property owner that was going to sell their property that was vacant, but they had a bunch of stuff in it. And that's when I realized, Brian, if you give me the name, address, and phone number of a house that needs renovation or updating, I will make a fortune. I never have to worry about being able to provide value to the marketplace because I can have a quality conversation with that property owner. I can find out the condition, timeline, motivation, price of them selling that property, and I can match them up with investors that'll pay me a fee for finding those deals.
And that's a really good story. You said a couple things there too. Number one, you got punched so hard in the face, but I respect you got back up. Just went out and did the hustle. Like, door knocking sucks, but it works. It's like, for people that haven't done that or people that have that, it's like telemarketing too. Door knocking is worse than telemarketing, but telemarketing also sucks. It's like you just have to keep going because you're going to find a deal if you don't quit.
That's it.
Which, you know what I mean? Like you just have to go to the next door and the next one. And eventually it's luck. Like you keep doing the thing and you get lucky. That's what happened.
Yep.
And
it's really interesting. When I sold this, I found the price that the seller wanted for that first deal. And I took it to an investor and he's like, yeah, I'll pay you 3%. And so I went to the settlement statement to make sure that my 3% was on there because this was off market. I mean, this is absurd in the world of realtors to do anything that's not on the MLS. So I was like real nervous about it and really just like, oh, I hope I'm getting my, $4,600 commission. And I looked down, Brian, my investor's not on the settlement statement. It's some other buyer is on the settlement statement. And I'm like, call him up. And I'm like, Derek, are you buying this? What is happening here? And he goes, no. I sold that property. I go, what do you mean you sold it? You don't own the property. What do you mean you sold that property? He goes, no. I sold the contract to it. Don't worry about it. And I was like, what does that mean? And I looked down and there was this line item that I had never seen. And I had done, I don't know, 500 transactions, 600 transactions, and I had never seen this beautiful 2 words down at the bottom of the settlement statement. And it said, assignment fee, $30,000. And I was like, what is that? And I talked to the escrow officers like, oh yeah, Derek assigned it to his buddy or whatever. And I was like, so he gets paid $30,000? He's like, yeah, 3 more deals, $92,000 in total assignment fees. I figured out what wholesaling was.
Yep. And you're right. It's so huge. And you can wholesale because you got it right. Like there's spread there. So you can make a lot of money. And the investor you're selling it to has a lot of spread there too.
That's right.
It's huge. So, all right, cool. Second thing you said there when you were talking is when you got punched in the face, if you were working with some seasoned guys or had a mentor, things like that, sometimes they can foreshadow or see ahead. They're like, hey, you know what? Maybe now's the time to start taking some of your eggs, putting them safe, things like that. So I've made the same mistakes when I'm starting. I'm like gung-ho. It's like, okay, sometimes it pays to have that guy with the gray hair looking over your shoulder, being like, you know what? I've experienced this before because the market was crazy right then. It's like I've experienced this before. Hey, and kind of give you a heads up. So 2 observations there. So let's talk about, okay, so someone's listening right now. They've been checking out real estate, haven't pulled the trigger. They're learning all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But haven't done a deal. What do you tell them?
I love it. Go out into your car, drive around your area, your neighborhood, your community, and find 50 ugly houses. That's it. Just write them down. Take a notepad with you. There's a bazillion incredible apps that you could do for driving for dollars that will do all this legwork for you. But if you have zero budget or you just want to take action literally right now, get in your car with a pad of paper, drive around. And if there's when you see properties that need to be fixed up, write down the address. Okay. And then you can go online and you can literally go to white pages. You can go to True People Search. You can go to cyber background checks. You can go to a tremendous amount of other places and get the phone numbers for those property owners for free. You literally just put in the address into these websites and they give you multiple phone numbers. And then you do the hardest part of all. You put that phone number in your phone, which is the remote control to society here. And then you press call and you call them up. You call all those property owners up and you say, listen, I know that my name is Brent Daniels. I know that this is complete. Use your name, not mine. I know that this is completely out of the blue, but I was calling about a property I believe you own on 1212 Banana Street. And they say, yeah, what about it? And you say, I just wanted to call and see if you would consider an offer on your property there. And Brian, there's only 6 responses that they can give you. Only 6. All right. And if you know how to respond to these 6 responses, you can really get past their force fields and their initial knee jerk, no reflex that they have and keep the conversation going. And those 6 responses are, yes, I do want to sell. No, I don't want to sell. Maybe I do in the future. How much will you give me? Who are you? And how'd you get my number? That's it. You're going to get one of those 6 responses. And then from there, you just talk to enough people that there's going to be people that say how much, maybe, or yes. And if they give you any one of those, you just start opening up the conversation and finding out more about the property. And you just need to find out 4 pillars. We call this the 4 pillars of pre-qualifying. The condition of the property, their timeline to sell it, their motivation or what is their problem, and the price. That is the skeleton of every conversation you have with every single property owner. And in this discovery process, remember that 80% of the conversation should be about the people, not about the property. You do that right, and you will win. You find out those 4 things. You find out people that want to sell their property. They want to be done with this. It's just a matter of time. And you will cross that bridge from faith to fact, and you will get paid in this business. And it is awesome.
Elaborate more on the paying attention to the people.
Yes.
More than the property, because that's important.
Yeah. Here's the thing. Everything comes down to what problem can we solve? What is the problem that we can solve? If there's no problem, then we're just trying to convince people to sell their property, which never happens. Remember this, we are deal finders, not deal creators. All right. This is not one of those things where you could go in and it's an easy 2-second sale and all of a sudden, ownership transfers. There's a long period of time for people to back out on a deal. If you're this slick, smooth, doing all the NLP and doing all the mirroring and matching and doing all the right words and promising the right things to get a property under contract, it's not going to work. You're never going to convince somebody to sell their property. You're going to waste a lot of time and have a lot of headache. Remove the headache, remove the heartburn, remove the heartache, and just remember that we are deal finders, not deal creators.
Yeah, that's so true. Because I know even dealing with sellers myself too, it's like, number one, have empathy. The people you're talking about, they got a problem.
Yeah.
They might be in foreclosure. They might be getting divorced or something. They're dealing with their stuff. It's like, okay, you have a problem. I'm going to try solving it. It's not just about the number. It's about, okay, they're people too and trying to help them out. So it's really important for everyone listening there.
Every time, just find out what's going on with them. You know what I mean? Find out what's going on with them, and then they'll tell you everything that you need to know. and whether or not that you can actually help them with a cash as is offer, with a creative offer. Should you refer them to a really great real estate agent? Maybe you have a license, whatever it is, right? There's so many different options to be able, or paths you can put these people down to really help them out, to really solve whatever problem. But if you don't know what their problem is, if they're like, well, how much will you give me? No. You called me. You tell me what are you going to offer me? And if you can't get past that, that's not a quality lead. That's not even a lead. A lead, Brian, is somebody that has made the decision they're going to sell their property. That's what a lead is. They've made that decision that they're going to go through the process of signing a document, transferring title to somebody else. That's a lead. Everything else, throw away. Everything else is just going to waste your time. Everything else is you feeling good and fuzzy that you had a conversation about real estate with a property owner. But that doesn't get you paid. What gets you paid is you actually providing value. Our income, our earned income, is equal to the amount of value we provide. That's the balance. And so you want to make $1 million, provide $1 million worth of value.
Yep, I'm with you there. Okay, so before we jump forward, we're driving around looking for ugly houses. Define an ugly house. What are some key things you're looking for?
Yeah, listen, I mean, you're going to know it when you see it, but you often see that there's not a tremendous amount of kept up landscaping, or the landscaping is either getting overgrown if you're in a place that actually has moisture. But if you're in Phoenix, it's just dirt, right? It's just dirt. And you see the old blinds are falling apart, or there's boards on the window, or there's, the roof is kind of coming apart. It needs some work, or there's huge weeds, or there's a junkyard. I mean, you know it when you see it. You know what I mean? It's instinctual. You see a property that needs renovation, and there's other properties that have been renovated. This one obviously hasn't. Write it down. Talk to the owner.
Go. Okay. So we're driving around, find some beat up properties, get their phone numbers. We call them. One thing I think it's important too, don't get lazy. Call them yourself. Don't get a $4 an hour person to call them. Like, put the sweat in and do the hard work.
People have to understand critical thinking skills matter. And critical thinking skills are established because we understand what's going on where we were born and raised. Some people call it the culture or society or whatever. You know what I mean? We understand where the grocery stores are. We understand what kind of construction materials were used. You know what I mean? It's different around the world. So you get somebody that's going to make calls, and they're going to show up, and they're going to do it, and they're going to be consistent for $4, $8, $10 an hour. They won't have the critical thinking skills.
And they might have a rooster in the background.
Of course. Or a parrot, or whatever.
Yeah.
It depends on where they're at in the world, but yeah.
And it's as simple as that too. Everyone listening, like, if you want to get into real estate, it's going to suck for a little bit because you're going to get in your car and you're going to be driving around and you're not going to know what you're looking for. Like, I remember my first deal, I didn't know what I was doing. So you're going to drive around and you're going to find all these houses and they're all going to suck, but you might have that one.
Yep.
You called them, you found the one, they said yes. And then what are you doing, Brent?
And then what you want to do is you want to get in front of them as soon as possible, right? I mean, I would get eye to eye, knee to knee, belly to belly as soon as possible with that property owner so that you can really cement the relationship. If you don't live in the area that you're making these calls and you're doing it virtually, then just pre-qualify. Get what is their bottom line? When do they want their money, right? And how much do they want? And if you can agree to the price and the terms, then the last factor is, do they trust you to get the job done? That's only the 3 factors that matter in negotiating: price, terms, and you. That's it. And so if you've built that trust and you're in alignment with the price and the terms, then you can just simply send them an offer over an email signature. And now you've got a property under contract, which is an asset. As soon as somebody signs and you sign and you agree, you have exclusive rights to purchase that property. Nobody else can buy it without your permission, which is that is an asset. And so you can either sell that asset, you can close on that property and flip it, or you can close on that property and keep it in your portfolio. There's really only 3 exit strategies. There's a bunch that kind of go under that, but it's either buy and hold, buy and flip, or assign.
Okay, so now you go out, you get your first deal done, right? Door knocking.
Yes.
Right? after the first deal, people want to scale and do more. How long do you recommend they keep doing that strategy? And what do you recommend they do next to try to scale things up?
You want to stay really, really, really focused. There's a bunch of little things that you can do every single day that's going to bring in some opportunities to you, but you don't want to be waiting. You want to be super proactive, right? When you're starting out. So you just want to be consistent. You want to set up your schedule and make it sacred time when you're going to be proactive, when you're going to reach out to these property owners. So for me, it was 9 to noon every day. I was calling property owners. 9 to noon, no interruptions. I was just going to call and try to build my pipeline of leads. Had a quick 15-minute lunch, 45 minutes to an hour of lead follow-up, and then I was on appointments, right? And so that was really the winning schedule for me. Was the morning was for finding business, the afternoon was for doing business. And so the real tough part is typically the first 90 days, you're not going to get paid. It's a fist fight mentally. This is going to be probably the most difficult 90 days you've ever been through. To stay consistent, to not let the 3Ds creep in, which is doubt, distraction, and disappointment. Those 3Ds are on attack that first 90 days like you wouldn't believe. Doubt, distraction, and disappointment are be coming at you left and right and center. And, oh, this isn't going to work. Or, oh, I'm going to go do drop shipping. Or, oh, I'm going to go find the next crypto. Or, oh, there's got to be easier ways to learn real estate and make money. Fact is, you stay in there that 90 days, you stay consistent. You're talking to new people every single day. You're building up your pipeline of opportunities. Day 90, it starts really changing. That's when you start closing your first deals. And that's when you can start getting that consistency of closing a deal every single month. And then the next step is get into this business full time. Replace your current income, get into this business full time, keep your marketing budget small, and then you can start doing some exciting things. You can start putting some of your profits into marketing, which means instead of you calling people, which is outbound marketing, they're calling you. They're reaching out to you. You're getting these leads from motivatedleads.com and you're calling them up and setting appointments and getting them locked up. And so that's when you start going from one a month to one a week. And then at some point you've got your marketing and your team set up to where you're closing a deal a day.
Yeah. And you know what? It's crucial too to follow that process. Like, go pay with a sweat first. Don't try to skip over and start buying leads because the leads are going to call you and you don't know what to do with them.
Right.
Go out and practice on free leads. Go out and learn, because if you lose one, it's going to sting really bad because you called 100 people to get that one lead, but you're not going to make the mistake again. You're going to learn. That process is so crucial when you're starting out to like follow it, learn it, because there's only one way to learn, and it's by making mistakes.
Yeah, and I'll give the same advice that I give my 7-year-old son every morning when he's leaving for school or when I'm taking him to school. Be kind, confident, and curious. Be kind, confident, and curious. What should I sound like? Be kind, confident, and curious. You know what I mean? How do I get good at this? How do I build skills? How do I convert more of these leads into signed contracts? Kind, confident, and curious. Be those three things on the phone. Keep it in front of you. And you literally cannot lose. You can't lose. You build unbelievable skills. You're talking to property owners that have some form of distress. And remember, I mean, the U.S. Census will tell you 6 to 10%, depending on where you're at in the country, 6 to 10% of the real estate market is in distress at all times. Right? There's 143 million residential units. That means we have upwards to 14 million opportunities at all times every single year. It's a conveyor belt of opportunities. So as long as you're talking to people every single day, building your skills of being kind, confident, and curious, pre-qualifying them, getting on the appointments as fast as possible, it is undefeated. You cannot lose. You will win. You just got to get through that first 90-day fist fight. You get through that, you're going to do amazing things in this business.
Yep. If it was easy in the beginning, everybody would be doing it.
Of course.
They're just going to walk through the mud. And you figure, you're saying 6 to 10%. That means you call 100 people. You're probably talking to 6 distressed people.
Well, listen, we target the 6 to 10%.
That's true.
All of them should be that, Brian.
Yep.
You know what I mean? When we're being proactive, when we're outbound, we're calling the ugly houses that we just wrote down. We're calling the people that haven't paid their property taxes, that have code violations, that just went through or in the process of inheriting properties and pre-probate. All of these things, we have access to all of these resources. It's public data. And there's incredible companies that like literally format it, put it all down, clean it up, and hand deliver it to us. We just have to go and press go on our phones and have a conversation.
Yep.
It's
Now,
awesome.
Brent, you help people do this too, right?
Yes.
So explain exactly how you can help people. And your website's wholesalinginc.com. Everybody
wholesalinginc.com. That's right. Yeah. We offer coaching for entrepreneurs, real estate entrepreneurs that want to get their first deal or really scale their business up into $1 million a year plus. And so we've worked with the best of the best. We have an incredible community. We do 15 to 20 support calls and training workshops every single week within our private community, within the Rhino tribe. And we're looking for really motivated people where batteries come included, and they have the dream and they have the fire in their belly to change their lives through real estate. And so that's what we do. And we've been doing it for 11 years. We've helped out thousands of real estate entrepreneurs, and it's awesome.
Yeah, wholesalinginc.com. Definitely go check that out. But if you haven't done a deal too, think about why you haven't done it. Maybe you need, because it's one thing if you're doing things on your own and you're sitting in your house brainstorming and thinking about how it's not going to work.
Yeah.
Versus being part of a community and working with somebody that can actually help you, show you. It's a lot of times it's me when I got into real estate. Looking back, it's way easier than I always thought it was going to be. I always found out how complicated it was going to be. But when you find out, it's only a couple of different things.
Yeah, it's just, what I've experienced with people that have been interested and they listen to the podcast, they watch YouTube, they go to the meetups, they still haven't done a deal. It's because you get stuck in an education loop, right? You get stuck in all the different nuance of things that you don't know, or the things that you're just not confident about. And you don't want to make a mistake. And so what we do is we take all that off your plate and let you focus on the actual income producing part of this business, which is talking to property owners and making offers. I say this business boils down to conversations and offers. You get that down and you have enough support to walk you through and enough expertise for people to walk you through whatever situation those property owners are in to provide the best solution. That's how people get their first deals and then grow from there.
Yep, 100%. Wholesalinginc.com. Hit up Brent if you're trying to get into real estate and get that first deal done. Brent, hey, thanks for coming on, man. We appreciate you.
Thank you. You're the best. This is exciting.
Everyone, thanks for listening. Until next time, get out there, crush it, close some deals. We'll see you guys.